pacifier.
For the, yeah.
Sound, yeah, it can be heard on the film. So.
Oh.
Right, so we're going to draw a square end. This is shoulder, so you're not going to have a best end. Then we're going to mark 1/2 inch. What side does the 1/2 inch go to?
It's nearer to you.
Yeah. That fly is incredibly annoying. Right. Imagine if you can hear the fly in the video. Right, double check that is 1/2 inch. It is. Okay. Then mark that up to your 8-inch point. Okay. When we punch the hole, is it included in the split or is it not?
Included.
Good. So the top of the hole becomes the top of the split. So we're going to draw all the way up to that mark. It's that nice waxy stuff that you guys enjoy, so you can see what you're drawing. At this point, do we put our set square on and draw across?
No.
No? Good. I don't want to see marks on this 12-inch bit. I don't want to see drawing across. That fly's going to eat me.
It's not a fly, it's a blue bottle, isn't it?
It's a dragon.
It's a different.
Oh, they're nasty.
Right, so
They make.
then we're going to mark.
Make a mess in your food.
We're going to mark our 12 inches from the top of that 8-inch mark, right?
I call that a horsefly.
Oh, it's a blue bottle.
So there's 12 inches. Right. And then from there, we draw all the way down. I will warn you, this stuff is incredibly spongy on the ends. So when you get there and you put your strap cutters on, make sure you've got at least a good inch at this end so that it bites properly. I hope you're not falling on top of my head. Which hole do we use?
Smallest.
Good.
Assuming you didn't have a punch, a rotary punch like that, you say we'd use a 2mm hole or whatever
Yeah.
it is in the hole money.
Well, you'd probably have a round punch if you didn't have a hole punch.
Yeah, and
You
you'd
just
use
pop that, same thing.
a 2mm though, same
Yeah,
size as
yeah.
the smallest
Just a
one.
small, a round hole. Just so that you do the top of the splits. Why do we punch a hole at the top of the splits?
Stop it splitting.
Good. Right, there's one. Double check. Good. There's two. Right. Then set your strap cutter to 1/2 inch or 3/4 and then put it on the line end. And then it squishes up and doesn't want to cut.
What was that? 3/4 you set it to?
I'll set it to 1/2 inch mine, but you can set it to 3/4. That's how you widen that. I've got a new blade in this. It actually works. I only put a new one in because I dropped my other one. So that was pleasant. Right, go a little way down. Recheck your strap is the right width. Yeah.
That's a bit late once you got that far, isn't it?
Not really. This far's okay. You've got a few inches. So if I went from there to there, as long as I've got 44.5 and a little bit. Yeah, because the 44.5 is made up, it's the cut measurement, isn't it? So pop that back in. just so much easier than cutting by hand. Alright, and what happens when you get to the hole?
Stop just before.
Yep, or what happens?
You cut right through it.
Yep. Or what happens if you cut right through it?
Fail.
Start all
Yep.
over again.
Alright, what side do I cut from on this side?
Turn it over.
What was the answer to that one?
This side. Just so you have the 1/2 inch on both sides, on the correct side. There we go. This is as close as I dare. Get the head knife out. All the way back and then roll it into the hole.
Do you not roll away from the hole?
You can do, but I prefer to roll backwards because then you can go there and then go, I'm about to cut wrong, and you can just pull it.
Also, to put the point in the hole, if you push forward, if you're not quite in line with the cut,
Yeah.
get a funny look.
And you have a lovely wiggle on the end if you do that. My knife's not sharp.
Martina, can I just ask you something about
Yes.
that hole between the splits? When you're actually using the hole punch, where you're actually placing the hole punch, way down onto your line, so you make sure that hole's actually in
The hole is in the middle of your.
the
Right, so if that's where I go, okay. So my mark was.
because it's inside there. Yeah.
So
So you make sure your inside is out on your hole.
Yep.
You put the punch in. Yeah. Okay.
Give
That's
it a
what I
little
did
bite and
wrong
then-
before. I put that in the wrong place.
yeah, and then that's all you've done.
Yeah, I was thinking it was doing central. Yeah.
Right. So now we mark the 8 inches on this side. Right. So make sure you've got it in line with the top of the hole. 8 inches. Get your throat lash out the way and mark across. There we go. And then we can do that. And there we have a nice extra bit. Remeasure these bits because you will often go, oh, I've got a nice square end here. That must mean that I've got to put a point at the very end of it. Remeasure. Make sure that you've got your 8 inches. You should have got your 8 inches. So there you go. And then cut across. So you're not suddenly an inch too long or whatever. Okay. Mark up your bridle points. So that is, how do you figure out bridle point length?
16.
Yep. So that is 3/4 plus a 1/16. Or you could go slightly longer if you think that it would look better. Okay, so
Do you make them the same length across, even though one's half an inch, one's...
Yep,
Okay,
because it's all got to match.
yeah.
Narrow your dividers.
And what do you take off the bottom, an 1/8?
That's what I'm taking off,
Yeah, okay.
On both sides.
I'm just going to take off an 1/8 or so all round, even on the 1/2 inch.
Okay.
You can vary that if you want to.
That's the same, that's a 3/6, so they match.
Yep.
Yeah.
This has all got to match. Okay. Right. So, if you're not feeling brave, put your ruler on. Go from point end up, draw it in between, and then you've got a line to go along. I'm not doing that. There we go, there's one. Be careful when you're doing this that you don't dish your cuts, because some of you're going in and then you're sort of twisting a little bit, and it goes a bit like that. And can you see how that's,
Goes curved.
yeah? We don't want that. That's a very, very exaggerated version, but if you do that, it's not very good. So I'm not going to have level points now. Whatever. There. Right, then what?
Vicky Collins.
Doesn't the 8th on the little one make it a bit too pointed compared to some of the other things I've seen?
This one, possibly, yeah. I quite like the way it looks. As long as it looks neat and tidy, you know.
Okay.
And again, you don't want arrowhead and you don't want a snake face. So, somewhere in between arrowhead and snakehead. So I will now measure 44.5. I should have enough, and if I don't, I'll just start crying.
You won't care because it's a sample.
Just make it different size. Maybe a Shetland pony headpiece instead. I do love these things. That's it. Right, 44.5. Mark it with your nail because that's easy. Don't have to get any tools involved. Double check that's in the right place because yeah, that's good. And then what do we do here?
Square end
Yep.
for your buckle.
Yeah. We're not going to use buckles unless you're willing to cut them out of previous headpieces. So, there we go, there's square end. Flip it over because we're going to have the grain side inside, aren't we? So flesh out. So nick your corners from the flesh. I just nicked mine too much. Okay. So, we have very basic headpiece shape. And measure your 3 inches on the inside of your buckle turn. Mark just under 3 inches.
Can you mark that on the grain side?
Yeah,
Because
mark
the
this on your
reverse
grain.
turn.
So mark it about 2 15/16 or something, so that you're short, so that when you do, if you do mark across or anything, you're underneath the turn, it gets hidden. And then you wedge everything, apart from that 3 inches. Don't do that because that will possibly give you a problem. So, do you remember how to get into the split?
Yeah.
Push the board down.
Do that. Get on the edge of your board. And then pop it. I always try and keep the same angle on your edge tools the whole way around, because you can see here I've just slightly twisted and it's made a massive difference. Okay. You can really see it on this stuff because it's such a light colour and the grain is so, you know, contrasting. But you can see that if you twist even fractionally, you've got a problem when you come to creasing it. So, you know, if you do that, be very careful and take off a bit more. So, again, while I'm going this way, I'll go down and split on this side.
Sky's gone.
Maybe Patrick Plant got it. We need to get us in this fly trap. Actually, I need one of them in my workshop at home.
Are you edging the flesh side as well as the grain side?
Yep, flesh and grain. And how much of the grain do you edge?
Just up to 3 inches.
How much of the flesh do you edge?
All of it.
This is the fun part because you get carried away edging on the flesh. You actually are allowed to.
So the grain is all. No, the grain is the 3 inches, and the flesh is all.
Yeah. And make sure you do edge this little end bit on your turn, because if you miss that, you can't do it again really. Not once you've stitched it and then you've got thread in the way, because then you'll cut your stitching.
That turn gets skived, doesn't it? You got skived there.
Yeah, but that's on the grain.
All right.
Basically, you edge it all the way around both sides except for the 3
Yeah.
inches on the inside of the reverse turn buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to have fun edging this because there's so much of it to edge. I want to see who can bring me the longest strip. That was a rubbish one. Longest,
spaghetti,
Yeah, spaghetti.
Don't get so long that it's as if you're playing snooker. Okay. Right. What do I do next, you reckon?
Take a break.
Okay, have a cup of tea. But then you get bored if I did that. So what next?
Holes or crease?
Crease. Yep. Wouldn't skive yet. Why?
Yeah, because you don't want to be unlevel when you crease it, because you'll see where the creases be where you've skived it off.
It wouldn't be the creasing so much I'd worry about, because that's going to be up to the buckle.
Yeah.
It wouldn't touch the skive though. It's the stitch marking that I'd be worried about. Because if you've skived without stitch marking, you have no guide. And if you, if you'd also not have your crew punch in by this
So
point.
you would have stitch marked before you'd done all of this?
No.
No.
This is where we are now. Next thing I would do is most likely I would crease. But I'm not going to run down there and then make you all watch me do it, so I'll just put a curl crease in. Don't do that.
Whoops.
Yeah. Need something
Fail.
there.
Failed.
Yeah, no,
Ups.
I can bone that out. If I could just get my crease back on.
That's where you change the angle of your.
Yeah.
And see, look what it did.